Hello and welcome to the Program Management in the Art of Communication Certification Program. We're in our 5th course, Storytelling that Delivers Program and Project Outcomes. And in week 1, we're talking about the structure and components of stories. In our 4th and final module, we're going to talk about how to become a proficient storyteller. So the most important thing about being a good storyteller is having a point. All stories should have a point, because you have to convince your audience to pay attention. And by getting their attention and giving them a point, you're going to pay off the why should I pay attention to your story? And you need to give a lesson in the story. Now remember, at the heart of stories are conflicts, problems, challenges, issues. And how you resolve them is what you want your listener to understand and learn from. So that's the lesson of your story. And once they have that lesson, you may need to take it a step further and say to the person, this is how what I talked about in my story, how I resolved this challenge or issue, how it's going to help you when you face a similar issue or challenge in your program or project. Now, during this week, we talked about the theory behind stories, how they're structured, how they work on the brain, and I gave you some examples of story types. I want to give you a story framework, a tool that you can use that is perfect for business, that's perfect for your program and projects. It's a very practical framework for building a story. We call it the CCARI framework, and I'm going to take you through the different components and then show you how to use it. So the first part of CCARI is the context. You set the background, you put the setting in place for your audience. What's going on here? And where are they? And what's happening? You then want to talk about the challenge. Remember, the challenge is at the heart of your story. So what is it that you're facing? What's the problem or issue that you need to resolve? What action did you take to resolve that problem or issue? What happened? What was the result after you took that action to resolve that challenge or issue? And what was the impact on you, on your project team, maybe your program team, maybe the organization overall? So that's the CCARI framework. And I use this all the time. In fact, sometimes if I'm on a phone call or if I'm online, I may have a Post-it note and I'll just rapidly write out the structure of the story that I want to tell during the meeting using the CCARI framework. What is the context? What's the challenge I'm facing? What action did I take? What was the result? And what was the impact? Very simple and easy to understand.
Hi, I hope you're enjoying this free lesson from the University of Maryland's Project Management Center for Excellence. If you want to check out more lessons just like this one, click the link in the description below where you'll be able to go to our website on executive project management. There, you can find edX courses, professional short courses where you can learn from an instructor like me, as well as request custom team training for you and your organization. All right, let's get back to the lesson and I'll see you at the end.
So let's walk through an example using the CCARI framework, and it's actually occurred early on in my career when I was trying to convince the office that I was working in to develop a wiki. And I know it's been a while ago, but we were having some issues here. So let me set the context for you. Our office was producing lots of information, stored in email, shared drives, desktops, all over the place. One person went out and bought these external hard drives and were putting his information on those external hard drives. So information was everywhere. And if you needed to get to information, you better hope the person wasn't out of the office that day or on holiday, because if it was locked in their files, if it was locked in their email system, you're not going to get that information today. Here was the challenge behind this. So we couldn't find anything. We had no quality control. I remember one coworker had a very fascinating versioning system. Last file, absolutely last file. This is the final file. The final file version 2. And we tried to go by the dates on his files. But one day we had, and we call this the apocalypse, one day we had when our shared drives where the server reset itself and all the dates were wiped out and all the files had the same date. So we couldn't even go by that. That's a true story. That's why knowledge management is so important in your organization. A little side topic there, but you can see why. Well, here was our context, okay? We had lots of information locked away in all kinds of different places. Challenges, we couldn't find anything. We had no quality control. My action as a new employee was to say, hey, let's get a wiki. We've got a shared server. We can put a wiki on it, pretty simple wiki. And I kept going around and talking about the wiki and how it was going to solve our problem. So I had the context and the challenge, and people were buying into it because they could see the challenge and why we needed to do something about it. So, what was this wiki thing? I trained everyone on using the wiki, and it worked great. We could find information better, we had the version control we needed, and it really streamlined operations for us. Now, I won't lie, people still kept versions of their files on their desktop, in their emails, external hard drives, and such, but at least they also dumped the copy onto the wiki. So, if all else failed, we can go to the wiki and get it. And the impact on the organization, less time spent searching and verifying information, more reliability in our decisions. Now, this is a great way to use the Sikari framework, and you see how the story works, right? Set the context, told you what the challenge was, what I did about this challenge, what was the result, and what was the impact on me, the organization, and my fellow employees. And you can put this on a post-it note and do it pretty quickly. And it's a great way to tell a efficient and effective story, just like Stephen Denning talked about, that minimal viable story. So I hope you've learned some tips on how to become a proficient storyteller. And I hope you've enjoyed week 1 about the structure and components of stories.
Hey there, did you enjoy that lesson as much as I did? If you did, go ahead and give us a like. If you want to see another one, go ahead and subscribe. And if you have any questions or comments, put them below and we'll get back to you as soon as we can. Moreover, is there somebody in your life who really needs this lesson right now? If so, go ahead and share it with them. I'm sure they'll appreciate it. Now, we look forward to seeing you in the next lesson where you can learn even more from the University of Maryland Project Management Center for Excellence. Thanks so much.